name is Allison and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing every movie I watched in 2022, well, all new releases, and I'm going to be ranking them. And just a disclaimer, this is just my opinion. Your opinion might be different from mine, and that is okay. We don't need to have the same opinion. So, without further ado, let's get into the movies that I watched in 2022, starting with the worst. Now, the worst movies are just the movies that I did not like. So, I didn't like these movies at all. There's no redeeming quality about them to me. I mean, maybe some have redeeming qualities, but these movies don't have any redeeming qualities about them. So, here we are, starting with... Directed by Andrew Dominik and starring Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe, Blonde is a horrible, disgusting movie that I don't even think I need to explain why this movie is bad. There's enough videos online about why this movie is bad, but I'm just going to summarize it. Blonde is horribly exploitative of Marilyn Monroe, and just, again, they heavily market the movie as if it's actually real, but no, this is based off of a fake book of things that didn't actually happen. And that's what makes this movie incredibly infuriating to watch, and also it's incredibly boring and slow. This movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes. Could have cut at least an hour off of it because we get the point within like the first 5 minutes or an hour. We get the point already, but Andrew Dominik clearly wanted the movie to be long, because I get it, most biopics are long, but it is not a good movie. I don't recommend it. I don't think anyone should watch this movie. Just don't watch it. And the other thing is that it clearly resembled that Andrew Dominik did not like Marilyn Monroe and thought that this was a appropriate way to portray her. We all know how Marilyn Monroe has been treated in Hollywood, and we all know how she was not respected when she was alive. Today, even though she's considered to be one of the greatest actresses of all time, when she was alive, she was fighting for respect. And this movie just is a step backwards. It is a horrifying, disgusting movie that I don't think needed to be made, and it's just disgusting. I hope this movie does not get any attention when it comes for award season. Yes, I know Ana de Armas got a nomination for her performance in this movie at the Golden Globes, but we all know how bad the Golden Globes are anyways, but we all know how bad the Golden Globes are. But, so, unpopular opinion, I wasn't as... I didn't really like her performance as much as everyone else did. I think she's pretty good. It's just that her performance was by far not one of my favorite performances of this year, and I just don't think her performance is one of my favorites of this year. And just don't watch Blonde. I don't recommend it at all, and I really wish I had not watched it. It is just that horrifying, disgusting, horrible movie. Don't watch it. I'll say it enough here. Don't watch it. I was going to make a full video about this movie, but I then decided not to do it because I just figured there's enough videos out there already, and I'd be repeating so many things. It is just a horrible movie. By far the worst movie I've seen this year, and it's just horrible. Don't watch it. Don't even think about watching it, because you're just gonna be bored. You're just gonna be bored. I felt myself falling asleep, and I felt like I had to pry my eyes open just to stay awake during this movie. It is so incredibly boring. It's slow. It doesn't make up how slow this movie is too. It is so incredibly slow. This was even more agonizing than watching The Time Traveler's Wife, and you all know how much I hate The Time Traveler's Wife because of how slow it is. This movie was somehow even slower than The Time Traveler's Wife. It was agonizing to watch. I felt myself wanting to turn it off at some points. And yeah, just awful movie. Don't watch it. Alright, let's get into the next movie. Next we have Halloween Ends. So, Halloween Ends. So, I have made it clear that I am a massive Halloween fan. I mean, I love the movies so much. Except I don't like the sequels. I don't like the sequels. So I actually really liked 2018's Halloween. I thought that one was really good. Halloween Kills, I made a whole video about it, by the way. You guys should really go check it out. I made it clear in that video that I absolutely hated Halloween Kills because I thought it was stupid. I think that the director might have made Halloween Ends even more stupid. Like, Halloween Ends is not like Halloween Kills. Like, Halloween Kills is at least a bit better than Halloween Ends, but Halloween Kills is so bad, but Halloween Ends is worse. I don't know how they managed to make it worse. Okay, so first of all, the fact that they turned Halloween, a slasher movie, into a love story of all things. A love story. Why? Why did we have to turn this into a love story? Stupid, I know, incredibly stupid. And then all the characters were so incredibly dumb. Like, it does the, like, I would kind of watch the movie. Like, I was really excited for at the end where we finally got the Laurie Strode, Michael Myers showdown. But that somehow felt super anticlimactic. It felt like, because they were trying to do the pass the torch thing, which I felt like doesn't work. And Michael Myers is barely present at all. It's beyond dumb. I don't know why they chose to barely have Michael Myers present in the movie. And I don't like, the whole Corey character was so dumb. Like, I think if Corey had been present throughout the whole franchise, like this whole sequel trilogy, then it would have been a lot, like, it would have been a lot better had Corey been there from the start. It was a horrible decision to just introduce him now, because Corey is a horrible character. He just is super annoying, whiny. Like, I think there was potential there to make an interesting story, but that was completely washed away by the fact that this is Halloween. This is Halloween, not a romance movie. And y'all know I like romance. I like love stories. I just don't like it that they tried turning a slasher movie into a love story. It doesn't make any sense. And then all of the kills were so bad. Like, they were like some of them were literal repeats from 2018's Halloween. I was just like, have you seriously run out of ideas at this point? So incredibly dumb. Like I said, Michael Myers, this is like, it doesn't even feel like Michael Myers. Like, this does not feel like Michael Myers at all. It's just, oh my gosh. I feel like if I keep talking about this movie, I'm gonna lose a brain cell. I'm gonna lose, like, all my brain cells. But, again, I wouldn't recommend this movie unless you're, like, a massive Halloween fan. Unless you're a massive Halloween fan, I would not recommend this movie. I think that this movie is so dumb. So incredibly dumb. Probably award for the dumbest sequel, or like dumbest final movie dumbest final movie in a trilogy. This would get that award for the year. Okay, let's move on to the next movie before I lose all my brain cells. Now we we have Moonfall. So nobody in my house thought Moonfall was going to be good. My mom and I would always like laugh at the trailer because we thought it was so bad. But because I described this movie as like Don't Look Up mixed with Armageddon, but with bad writing, with really really bad writing. So what went wrong here? So Moonfall is a disaster movie that like doesn't even really feel it's the whole beginning is so boring. Like I again, kind of like with Blonde, I felt myself falling asleep and I was just like how oh my gosh. It was so boring and there was it's not even helped by the fact that some of these actors like literally can't act. And it has good actors in it, like Halle Berry. Like you have good actors in there. But like there was one guy in particular, I don't remember what his name is. I don't know what his name is. There was one guy in particular, now if you've seen the movie, you probably know what guy I'm talking about. This guy, my goodness, he could not act. I was laughing at literally all of his lines. Like his delivery was so painfully funny. It was like this movie was unintentionally funny, and yeah, there were just points where I was like kind of cracking up laughing because it was just so bad. And the comedy, it's not even helped by the fact it's not even the parts that are supposed to be funny. The comedy in this movie is just horrible because it's in the words of Possessed by Horror, one of my favorite YouTubers actually. This movie feels like it was written by AI, but edited by a 10-year-old. In the words Possessed by Horror, yeah, I agree. So the thing is, this movie it has like every cheesy disaster line you could think of, but the comedy is just dumb. Like think of like a 12-year-old's comedy, like middle school, like second grade humor. That's kind of like, why did I say middle school and then second grade? Okay, we're gonna ignore that I said that. But this movie has like second grade humor. It's dumb humor like cat videos, like fart jokes, like super dumb humor. And the first trailer, which I didn't see the first trailer, I saw the trailer for this in theaters actually when I went to go see Scream. I saw the trailer for this for the first time, and my mom and I were like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so bad." Yeah, we were right. So it was like one day we were just bored and threw it on, and my gosh, yeah, so bad. And I mean, the only like kind of redeemable factor about it is the fact the visuals were good. Like the visuals were really nice to look at, but also but the visuals were really nice to look at. So I kind of wish they made it like a full blown space movie. So then we get to the fact that like the whole explanation for everything, they use two different theories, which pick one. Don't try to do both because it just makes it even more convoluted, more incredibly stupid. It's just super convoluted, is what you could say it is. It's just they should have done a little bit less with the reveal, and also the whole sacrifice was so dumb. The whole sacrifice was dumb. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is literally every single disaster movie that has existed ever in existence. This, like, please stop. It's so dumb. And and also a lot of the dialogue was horrendous. Dialogue was horrendous. I couldn't I literally wanted to punch all of these characters in the face because I was just like, oh my gosh, you all of you, why? The thing is, the dialogue was so bad, and the characters, like I said, I wanted to punch all of them in the face because they were all so annoying. Like all of these characters are annoying. Like don't expect if you haven't seen any of these movies, like again, like this movie, like don't expect to like any character. All of them are so incredibly annoying. I just couldn't stand it. Yeah, Moonfall is just painfully dumb, unfunny, just awful. Like the whole and also It's like half of this stuff would not realistically happen. Like the hole in the atmosphere, you're just holding on to somebody. No, it's not good. It doesn't work like that. That's human. That's physically impossible. Make it make sense. Sorry, I just smacked my microphone in my chin. But yeah, Moonfall, painfully dumb. Anyways, the next movie is Now We Have Fallen for Christmas. Falling for Christmas to me was never intended to be good. It's like, like cringy Hallmark movies that you always see around Christmas. My mom and I decided to torture ourselves one day by watching this, and I literally guessed the whole plot. I guessed the whole plot super quickly. Like, it's super predictable. I mean, which I get some people are going to like that, and I get it. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like that. But that still doesn't prevent the fact that the script and the dialogue are horrendous. Like, and also some of the outfits in this movie were just bad. So maybe it's because I'm really into fashion that some of these outfits like really ticked me off because some of them were so bad. Like the obnoxious big hats. Because have you ever seen like those videos on TikTok? Because I absolutely love watching them. It's like this one girl on TikTok. She always makes videos of like parodying like Hallmark movie wardrobes, and that's like what it is. That's what it is. That's kind of how the wardrobe in this movie is. Like a lot of red and green, and it doesn't look good. The obnoxious big hats, people relaxing in like pencil and like business formal and like business formal outfits. That's kind of what these outfits look like. That's kind of what a lot of these outfits look like. And then Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan. I was so close to giving this movie 1 star, but like I gave it like 2.5 because Lindsay Lohan. I like Lindsay Lohan, so only made sense. You guys don't know, I absolutely love Mean Girls, and I absolutely love Mean Girls. So I absolutely love Mean Girls. I've said that like 15 times already, but I don't care. So the thing is with this movie is I just didn't really like it. It was bad by design, but that doesn't mean it's like not it's insufferable. And also the guy who plays Sam in Glee, Court Overstreet, is in this movie. And listen, I like Glee, but I feel like a lot of people always do these movies whenever they're super desperate for money, and that's kind of what I think was going on. And also, some of like the CGI in this movie was so bad. Like I was laughing at it. It was so bad. And there was the one scene where she hits her head, and he and her like fiance is like pulling on the ring, and they really have to emphasize that the ring is too big. Like that whole thing was just so funny, and I was just like, we get it. You don't have to make it clear on. You don't have to make it so obvious. You don't have to make it extremely obvious like that, because that's just dumb. Okay, so Falling for Christmas. Well, yeah, I hated it, but like it was just bad by design, but that doesn't mean I don't get to rip it to shreds. So let's move on to the next movie, which actually there's 2 movies here. It's a tie. Okay, so here's a tie. We have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Black Adam. So, the main problem I have with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is that I don't really hate movies from Marvel. I actually do like Marvel, even though I tend to wait until those movies come to streaming for me to watch them. I'm typically one of those people that will wait till they come to streaming because I prefer to support smaller movies in theaters. That's kind of how I tend to be. I tend to wait till bigger movies unless everyone says that you need to see them in theaters. I tend to wait until they come to streaming because I like supporting smaller movies in theaters. That's kind of how I've always been. So I watched Multiverse of Madness on streaming. Now, I had a lot of problems with it. So my big problem with it was the fact that I think that they were trying to make it bring out like gory. They made it gorier, which like fine. But the thing is that I don't like it how this movie was marketed. It was marketed as a horror movie, which it is not. It is just a basic MCU movie to me. And then you also get to the fact that Scarlet Witch, as we all know, I've loved Wanda for a long time. If you didn't know, I've loved Wanda for a long time. Like, she's my favorite MCU character. So the thing with this movie is that I'm fine with them making her the villain. She was like the best part of this movie, and I found myself like kind of like rooting for her at points. But like, yeah, again, like just stuff that she does in this movie is pretty horrible, admittedly. So the thing is that I dislike the fact that it appeared that she was kind of learning the same lesson that she learned in WandaVision, and it annoyed me because I was just like, really? Didn't you already learn this lesson? Didn't you already learn this lesson already? And it just kind of felt like she was like, she kind of is repeating herself from WandaVision, and I'm fine with them making her the villain, but I kind of think, and also like if they're full on, if they're trying to go on, she got corrupted by the Darkhold, go full on corruption, like don't be super inconsistent and like wishy-washy with it. I feel like I'm quoting, okay, kind of. I just think that they could have done a lot better with how they made her a villain, which her being a villain, absolutely, I'm here for that. I'm here for her being a villain. And yeah, I love Wanda either way. You can literally never make me dislike Wanda at all. Now, Doctor Strange himself. So Doctor Strange himself is unneeded in this movie. He has no arc. He has literally no purpose to be here. I'm just like, dude, why are you here? Like, you don't serve a purpose in this story. I get it. It's the multiverse. Of course Doctor Strange has to be there, but maybe actually give him a story. He doesn't have a story or reason to be in the movie. He doesn't have any reason to be in this movie. His existence in this movie is just dumb. And I think we just need him there because it's the multiverse. It's so dumb. Like, we don't need him here. We don't need Doctor Strange in this movie at all. Okay, now we're gonna talk about Black Adam. So I just watched Black Adam while I was painting. Like, I was painting my phone case because sometimes I like to paint my phone case. I just threw this on and my God, horrible. So my big problem with this movie is the fact that I just think this movie is dumb. It's like the whole story is just stupid, and the whole story is just stupid. And then you get the very subpar action scenes. I just think that the action scenes were not really interesting to look at. The only person whose powers actually kind of were interesting to look at was like Cyclone. I thought her powers were very interesting to look at, and also Quintessa Swindell, I think that's how you say their name. Fantastic. Was amazing. And the thing is, I thought The Rock did fine as Black Adam. I just thought that Black Adam could have been a lot more interesting. I think even though this movie's about Black Adam, Black Adam is like the most uninteresting part of the movie. And again, I just thought, and also I don't read comics, but I always do research into the characters before I watch the movies. Sorry. So, sorry, I had something stuck in my throat for a second. I It's like stuck in my throat for a second, guys. I'm sorry about that. So, my big problem with Black Adam was just the fact that Black Adam himself was not interesting. With Black Adam being so uninteresting, I think that it kind of renders the movie itself to just be boring. And the thing is, the thing that annoys me so much that I've not seen really many people talk about this is that it's supposed to be a big reveal that his son was actually the champion, but they spoil that in the trailer. Seriously, I have not seen many people talk about this, and it's so annoying. Like, they spoiled that in the trailer. Yeah, just why? just why? So, anyways, I'm gonna be done ranting about Black Adam. I just don't want to talk about this movie anymore. I hate it so much. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the last movie in the worst entry. Actually, the worst tier. Okay, now we're on to Crimes of the Future. So, the reason there's no trailer up is because I didn't really feel like getting a trailer. I think I just forgot to pull up a trailer. I did not put a trailer in here because I forgot to. So, okay. So, Crimes of the Future. Why did I not like it? So, Crimes of the Future is a very mixed movie. Like, I think either some people like it or some people hate it. I am very much on the hate it side. Actually, I didn't really full on hate it. My main problem with it is just it was really boring, and I felt like literally nothing happened in the span of like an hour and 40 minutes. It felt like nothing happened, and it was also really slow. Which I think that this is a thing with my bottom tier is with the movies being slow. I don't mind movies being slow. Some movies I like are slow burns. Like, I like slow burn. I really like slow burns, and I like slow burn movies. They're good, and I kind of like the story taking its time. I like doing that, and I also kind of like slow burn books as well. I do really like books that take their time. That's kind of how I am. The thing is, this movie was not very pleasant to. It was not a very pleasant movie to watch. It wasn't very good. Like, the characters felt more like internal monologues than actual fully realized characters. And some of the performances were also very agonizing to watch, like, especially the guy who plays Saul. That guy cannot act. Like, it makes it even worse because he's the main character. It makes it even worse that you have to sit there and watch this guy who can't act. Now, Kristen Stewart is also really good. Kristen Stewart is really good, and the actress who plays Caprice, I'm gonna look up quickly what her name is because let me tell you, I am terrible with names. Like, I forget names really easily, and her name is Léa Seydoux. Seydoux? I hope I'm saying that right. You can roast me in the comments about my pronunciation. You can do that to me. But so the thing with Crimes of the Future is, like I said, with the characters feeling more like internal monologues, is because there's literally almost no character there's no character development. Wow, I cannot talk. So there's no character development. The characters just stay in the same place they do, and they say like deep things, but there's no like actual like there's no point A to point B with these characters. They stay at point A. They don't go to point B. There's no development. They just stay the same. And it was just not very entertaining. And I think they tried to act like there was a lot of walkouts to this movie, but according to what I've heard, because this movie premiered at Cannes Film Festival, but according to what I heard from another YouTuber on this platform, Amanda the Jedi, who actually confirmed that it was for a different movie. I think it was called Moving On or something, that actually got the most walkouts. But so yeah, nothing like. I mean, I get it. Using walkouts to make your advertising, like, kind of gets people to see it, but your movie did not have walkouts. Now we move on to the mid tier. Now the mid tier is movies that are just like in between. Like, they're good. Like, some of them are good. Some of them are like just okay, but they're just mid. Like, they're not the best, but some of these are actually good, but like they're not the best movies of the year. Okay, first up in the mid tier we have Men. Directed by Alex Garland and starring Jessie Buckley, this movie is kind of like, okay, so I watched this movie alone in my bedroom. And okay, so the thing with this movie is that I just think that it is not a bad movie. It's just the fact that it has a lot of bad qualities. Like, there's a lot of gore and it's very disturbing. And I kind of felt like it kind of just felt like pretentious almost. Like, this movie felt very pretentious. Like, it's like one of those movies that's like I'm better than you kind of movies. Like Alex Garland kind of wanted this movie to feel like it feels like it's better than everyone. Now, the main redeeming qualities of this was the main performance by Jessie Buckley, as well as the overall, I liked some of the visuals and I liked a lot of the cinematography, and also the score was pretty nice. I thought it had a really nice score, and the score was just the score was very haunting to listen to. It was very haunting, and yeah, it was very nice. It's fairly nice, and I really liked. I also really liked some of the direction of this movie. Like, there's some redeeming qualities, but like again, it's not a bad movie. It's just that it has a lot of bad qualities about it, especially just. I kind of feel like I couldn't understand. I feel like I couldn't really tell what the movie was trying to say. I almost feel like I almost felt like I couldn't tell what they were trying to say. It felt like they were using so many stand-ins for that message that it felt that the message almost itself felt unrealized. Like they didn't know what they were talking about, and that they didn't, or they just were making things up as they went, is kind of how I thought it was going. So, man, it's not a bad movie, it's just that it had a lot of bad qualities. So, let's move on to the next movie. Okay, now, here we are for Unnecessary Sequels, Hocus Pocus 2. So, I actually am a pretty big fan of the original Hocus Pocus. I always have to watch the original Hocus Pocus every single year, every October, I have to do it. Okay, so this one, I don't really see much wrong with this one, besides the fact that it's trying to nostalgia bait. I didn't hate, this one wasn't bad, it's just that it was kind of strange at points, but like, it's ridiculous. That's kind of the reason why I like the original Hocus Pocus. The main thing with this one was that the new characters felt really underdeveloped, and I think they could have utilized the new characters a lot better than they did. And also, just at points, I was just like, okay, was this really necessary? Because like, some characters felt just really pointless to be there. Like, you didn't need some of the characters in there, and also, what kind of saved this movie for me was you have them singing, Sanderson sisters singing One Way or Another, and I actually really liked that cover of the song, and yeah, this movie just, I didn't really care for it all that much, but still, there were some parts of it I did enjoy. Like there were portions I did enjoy, and there were points that I was like, there's some good scenes in there, and some actually like funny moments. But it's not nearly as good as the first one. I thought it had decent marketing, but I just think that this movie could have been better. It kind of felt like a Disney Channel original movie a little bit, which, as everyone knows, I'm not much of a DCOM person. I don't know why. I just always found those movies so cringy, and I just could never sit through them. So yeah, I didn't really care for this one all that much. But maybe it'll be part of like my rotation of watching it every October. Maybe, maybe not. I have no clue, honestly. So let's just move on to the next movie. Now, Death on the Nile was one of those movies that honestly, it was okay. I enjoyed it. It was actually a lot of fun to watch in theaters. My main issue with it was just how predictable it was. Like, I guessed who the killer was with before the murder even happened. Like I guessed and I was right. And I've never even read the book. I've never even read the source material, and I still knew I knew who it was because they just made it too obvious. Like there's not even a mystery. And listen, I like mysteries. I actually really like mysteries. And I just didn't find this one all that entertaining because if maybe they had committed to actually building a mystery about like who did it, because the whole marketing of it was that every passenger has a motive for why they could have done it, but like the movie itself, they make it too obvious who the killer is, so that leads it utterly just bland. I'll throw it on like if I have nothing to do and like I'll rewatch it. It has rewatchability to it. My problem with it is just that it's predictable. And being predictable is not necessarily a bad thing if you can be entertaining. It's just this movie was just predictable, but like it just made it too obvious in a murder mystery. That the other thing I really liked about this movie was I really liked the costumes. I really liked the costumes and the fashion was really nice. I thought those elements were really good. I don't really have much to say on this movie besides its bad plot. And yeah, I don't really have much to say on this one honestly. So let's move on to the next movie. Okay, so I might be in the minority here. I didn't completely hate Morbius. Yes, I have a whole video talking about Morbius and why I don't think it's nearly as bad and how it's actually a good movie. Please note that don't watch that video because, let's be honest, Morbius isn't a perfect movie. It's like decent to me. Like my dad is one of those people that actually really likes it. But I honestly enjoyed some parts of it. I actually enjoyed like kind of the visual effects and stuff like that, but I'm kind of in the minority when it comes to those things. The thing is, I know this movie flopped twice at the box office. I still find that so funny. I still find that so funny. And my dad was like, "Oh my gosh, we should go to the second showing of Morbius," and I was like, "Dad, I'm in dance right now," because I was in dance. But the thing is, with Morbius, I honestly think that I can admit it is not perfect. It is definitely the script could have used a bit of work. I definitely think the script could have used a little bit of tweaking here and there, and yeah, I just think that script could have been tweaked in a couple ways. I also think that the visual effects were unique, but like I still think that they shouldn't have cloaked what was going on. And I mean, I thought the makeup was fairly decent on, and also I might be in the minority for actually liking Jared Leto's performance in Morbius. I don't know. I liked it. I did like Matt Smith. I actually do really like Matt Smith. He was in Lost Sign Soho and I also do watch The Crown, so I I do actually like I do actually like Matt Smith. It's just that I honestly think the movie could have been tweaked in a couple ways, but honestly, it's a fine movie to me. It's fine. So let's move on to the next movie. Scream was honestly a movie that I really liked. I have a whole video about it. It's actually like one of the first the first movie review I actually uploaded on this channel. The thing is, Scream was a movie that I really enjoyed. I thought it was really entertaining to watch in the theater. It was a really good one. It was a really good one, and I do really recommend it, especially if, yeah, I just think that this one was really entertaining. It's definitely like my second favorite out of all the Scream movies. I am really hesitant about the new Scream though, mostly because I don't know if like, I have a feeling it's not going to be good because I don't know, the trailer didn't look that good to me. So yeah, I just am one of those people that is kind of hesitant about this new Scream. I'm a little bit hesitant. So, anyways, about Scream 5 or Scream, about this one, the thing is that I really liked the new characters and I like the way it calls out toxic fans. And I especially like the way it talks about toxic fans and kind of how some fans can be very protective when it comes to something that they like and kind of how far they're willing to go, and I really liked that, and it was also really funny as well as I really like the way that they kind of gave the story to the new characters, but they didn't forget about the old characters. I like the way the old characters came back at the end for this one, and it was overall really entertaining. Like I said, it is definitely up there in like my favorite Scream movies, and it's like it's my second favorite. I would definitely say this one's really good. So moving on, I'm probably not going to have much to say on Spirited. It's probably just one of those movies that is kind of just there. The thing is, I put it more so in the middle of the list, mostly because I thought it was entertaining. I just thought it dragged on quite a bit. Like, this movie did not need to be 2 hours. I think they could have cut some scenes dragged on quite a bit, and I think they could have cut. They should have cut out a good part of the movie. I think a good chunk of this movie could have been cut out and simplified a little bit. It's one of those movies that is just kind of just there. It was funny and it had some good music that I kind of had stuck in my head for a little bit, but the thing is, I just kind of wish that this movie had been trimmed a little bit, and certain plot lines kind of just felt like certain plot lines just dragged on a little bit. This movie was just, it's kind of a movie that's just there. I mean, the interesting thing about this movie, guys. So I had watched this movie on the same day, so this was like after school one day, and I had just finished watching The Danish Girl. And if you guys want me to make a whole video on The Danish Girl, I can, but I hated that movie, so at least I got something entertaining off of, like, at least I got to watch something that was actually, like, decent afterwards. Where the Crawdads Sing is actually a fairly decent movie. While the movie itself is nothing special, as a fan of the book, I thought it was a pretty good adaptation of the really good book. So I fairly enjoyed. I fairly enjoyed. I fairly enjoyed the acting, and I really liked the aesthetic, and also like the story overall. The performance, the main performance by Daisy Edgar Jones was really great to watch, and I thought she was a perfect pick for Kaya, and I think the actors they picked for Paige and Chase were also really good as well, and yeah, I thought this was a pretty nice movie to watch, and the main thing though is the main way it even really deviates from the source material is that they cut a couple scenes out. They cut a couple scenes out, but they also tell it chronologically a bit differently. So the most of the events from the past are told in flashbacks, and the main setting is the trial, which in the book there is more of a build up to the trial, but I did not mind that change because if they went with what the book did, we would have been there for like 3 hours. But Where the Crawdads Sing is actually really good and definitely the best book to movie adaptation of the year. I'm not counting one particular movie on this list because I haven't read the book yet. I actually do have a copy of the book, but I just haven't read it yet. So that's kind of what I think of Where the Crawdads Sing, and nothing special, but I still really enjoyed it. So let's move on. My Policeman is one of those movies that honestly I did enjoy it. I did really enjoy it. So My Policeman is like one of two movies that starred Harry Styles that released this year. The others, Don't Worry Darling, which will appear on this list. But My Policeman is definitely a movie that I think could have been improved on in some ways, like they could have edited the script a little bit. But I felt the acting was actually really good. I actually quite enjoyed Harry Styles' performance in this movie. I know, call me crazy, but I did actually quite enjoy his performance in this movie. And I thought the story was also I also really liked the story, and I also really liked I did quite like the ending, and I just thought that it was the story was told well. I just thought that they could have edited the script a little bit, maybe like kind of maybe change the dialogue in some areas, but I also really liked the aesthetics of it. I really liked the aesthetics of this movie. It was really pretty to look at, and I also really liked the central like romance. I'm a sucker for romance stories, and I really liked the romance in this movie. The romance was actually really good, so it gets points for that. And so I actually saw this one review. I have it saved actually on my phone. Actually have it saved on my phone because I thought it was so funny. I don't remember who made it. I don't remember who made the review, but basically the review was if I had a penny for if I it was like if I had a nickel for every time a 1950 movie had a 1950s Harry Styles gaslighting his wife, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's funny it happened twice. I found this review and I just thought it was too funny, and I'll put the review up on the screen. I'll put it up on the screen because I thought it was so funny. I found it on Letterboxd. It was so funny. So I thought I'd leave you guys with that review, and yeah. Yeah. So let's move on to the next movie, the next movie, interesting to say the least. So Terrifier 2, yet again, I don't have the trailer. So I'm gonna just talk. So the thing with Terrifier 2 is I did not like the first Terrifier. The first Terrifier was just not good. If the first Terrifier was just not good. So the thing is, I decided to watch Terrifier 2, and then I was just packing for a vacation, and then I threw this on, and I was just like, oh my gosh, who comes up with this stuff? It is gory. So you might have heard of the reports circulating that people cried, threw up, and passed out during the movie, with a viral tweet of a person saying that their friend passed out during the movie in the theater called The Ambulance, and saying that they still recommended the movie. Now, Terrifier 2 is one of those movies where I actually quite enjoyed it, and I kind of would see myself rewatching it. Maybe not the post-credit scene, because at the post-credit scene I felt nauseous watching, and The thing is, the post-credit scene was just very gross, and the whole movie itself was just very gross, and it is not for the faint of heart. It is not for the faint of heart. So, like, if you're sensitive to, like, if you don't like gore and you're just really sensitive to it, I would not recommend checking out this movie. It is disgusting, and again, there's really, to me, not much to talk about with this movie, because, like, the first one is, like, the first movie, the first Terrifier and second Terrifier, they're not that deep, and they're not deep at all. Like, they're just fun slasher movies that you can just throw on when you feel like watching a total gore fest. And that's kind of what this movie just is. It's a gore fest, but it's entertaining to me. It's like a bit entertaining. So it has that going for itself. Okay, now the next one. I know people are not going to be happy with the next one, so brace yourselves. Okay, before you say something, please let me explain. So, if you saw my most anticipated movies of 2022 video, you will know that I had this movie up there, and I thought it was going to be I had really high hopes for it, and I thought it was going to be a really good movie. I thought it was going to be, like, in my top 5. Previously, I did when I was ranking this, but then the more I thought about this movie, the more I had there was more, like, some of its flaws became more obvious to me. So, the main thing is that I kind of feel like the mother-daughter story has been done before, and I have a feeling that the movie kind of prioritized its visuals over the story, and I really would have liked there to be more of a balance between the visuals and the story, because I think the visuals were good. The story itself, I enjoyed parts of it. I just kind of wish there was a little bit, I kind of would have liked there to be a lot more emotion in the story, because I really like mother-daughter stories. I really like mother-daughter stories, and I really think that this could have been one of my favorites had maybe there been a lot more emotion than there was. A lot of people said they cried during this movie. I didn't shed a single tear, and I don't know why. I kind of almost feel a bit of, like, FOMO with this movie, because, like, I just want to know, like, what is it that people are getting out of this movie that I clearly am not. Like, if you like this movie, can you share in the comments down below kind of what you got out of it, because I'm having really trouble understanding it, so it could really be a good help to me to maybe try to understand it a little bit more, because I'm just trying to understand kind of what people got out of this movie, because I just really didn't get much out of it. And so that is just my opinion, and let's move on to the next movie. Okay, Smile. So the thing with Smile is that when I went to go see this in the theater, it was like 7:30. It was, like, kind of late at night, and the theater was just filled with a bunch of teenagers. And listen, I really enjoyed Smile. I thought the jump scares were extremely effective. I actually was screaming in the theater, as was everyone else. I actually have 2 stories about this theater experience. So, the first one has to do with the teenagers that were sitting next to me. So I went with both of my parents, and keep in mind, Smile is rated R, and there was this group of 16-year-olds that were sitting next to me, and they would not stop talking. They would not stop talking. They were talking, like, throughout the beginning of the movie, and then, like, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Right after, like, the first jump scare happens, they stop talking. And do you guys want to know what they were talking about? Because I heard them. They were talking about Jeffrey Dahmer, of all people. Like, you guys know the Netflix show that came out? Yeah, that's what they were talking about. Then there's the group of 12-year-olds that came to go watch this movie. Okay, so I saw them actually at the box office. So basically, it was this group of 12-year-olds and the mom. The they were a group of, I think it was like a group of friends, and so they were trying to buy tickets for Smile, and I think that they might have, actually I think they bought their tickets online, and the thing is, they were arguing with the box office employee. So the boys were trying to go in by themselves, and then they were like, "Hey, you can't." Like the mom was like, "Oh, I'm gonna let them go in by themselves," and then they're like, "No, this movie is rated R. You have to be in there with them." And then she's like, "No," and then they're like, "No, we don't have to do that. We bought our tickets online." And then they're like, "No," and then they're like, "You have to be in there." And the mom's like, "Well, I give them permission to be in there." Well, they're like, "No, we don't care. It's rated R. They have to be in. You have to be in there with them." And like then they're like going back and forth arguing. The mom didn't even sit with the boys. The boys sat all the way in the front, and she sat all the way in the back. She didn't even sit with them. Anyways, enough about the people that were at this showing. Like, let's actually talk about the movie. So I really liked the jump scares in Smile. Like I said, they were pretty effective, and I actually found myself screaming. I actually screamed, and like my dad was literally like, "Stop screaming!" And my mom was like, "Well, everyone else in this theater is screaming," because it is true. Like everyone in the theater was screaming, and everyone else in the theater was screaming, and also it was also, again, a little, I just forgot to mention this about the 12-year-olds. So basically at the end of the movie, they came out complaining that they couldn't see the monster at the end. You know, the Marilyn Manson looking monster. So the movie itself, I really enjoyed the lead performance by I think her name's like Sosie Bacon. I don't remember what her name is. Let's just quickly look up what her name is. Because, like I said, I am terrible with names, and I forget people's names literally all the time, and I never can remember people's names. Yeah, her name is Sosie Bacon. She's really good in this movie, and she's really good in this movie. It is more of a slow burn kind of movie, but it is pretty good, and I would really recommend Smile. I would really recommend Smile. So, let's move on to the next movie. Now we're on to the movie Fresh. So, this one was a wild ride of a movie. When it starts, it kind of appears to be about a kind of typical rom-com until 30 minutes in. So, we learn that he's a cannibal that sells people's women's meat. This movie was pretty entertaining, and I really enjoyed it. It was very wild. It was crazy, but it was really good. It was so good. Like, seriously, you definitely should watch it. That's if you can stomach it. It is definitely like I said, it's a wild ride of a movie. Really good performances and very, very it's just a very out there movie, and I think it succeeds in what it was trying to do. Really good movie. Go watch it. Don't worry, darling. So, a lot of people did not like this movie, and I actually really liked it. So, the main thing that made Don't Worry, Darling work for me was Florence Pugh's performance. I love Florence Pugh. After I watched Midsommar, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, I think that officially got me on the Florence Pugh train, and yep, she's just amazing in this movie, and I thought it was really good. So I loved the costumes. I loved the 1950s costume design. I loved the hair, the makeup. It was all all of the costumes were so amazing. And I also thought it's a pretty good slow burn thriller. It is kind of it's 2 hours, but I think it's a really good slow build up. I really liked the twist at the end. It was, oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so good, guys. And seriously, if the main reason I think that kind of made people kind of hesitant about it was like Harry Styles' performance, which I didn't mind as much. I didn't mind Harry Styles' performance as much. Like, yes, at points, like, it is. I just think it, like, if you. I just think it was not the best idea to put him next to Florence Pugh. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it's, like, a good idea to, like, put Harry Styles next to Florence Pugh. I mean, they also have really good chemistry together, by the way. I think they have really good chemistry, and yes, I know most people saw this movie because of Harry Styles, and also because of the controversy, like the drama surrounding it. I'm not even gonna talk about the drama because honestly, the drama was just kind of. I don't really want to talk about the drama, to be honest. I just don't want to talk about it. We're here to talk about the movie. We're not here to talk about the drama. So, I just think this movie's actually pretty good, and it was pretty good. I would say if you're gonna watch any of the movies in the mid tier, I would watch Don't Worry, Darling, and yeah, I like this one. Up next, we have the last movie in the mid tier is 3,000 Years of Longing. So I saw this movie on National Cinema Day. So that's when like tickets were like $3, and I decided to go watch this one. This one was like fairly simple. It almost made the best tier, but I kind of felt like it belonged here. So we're gonna talk about it. So this one is fairly simplistic, but like it is actually a lot more sad than I thought it was going to be. Like I kind of thought this movie was going to be not. I didn't think movie was going to be sad. I weirdly kind of expected it to be more like. I thought it was going to be a lot more dark than I thought. I don't know. I didn't. Like this one isn't really that dark. It is kind of sad, but it is quite. I mean, the visuals were really nice to look at, and it was really and like the performances by performance by Tilda Swinton. She's amazing in this movie, and I also really like the name Alethea. I really like that name, and it's a nice movie. Like I would really recommend watching 3,000 Years of Longing, especially if you're looking for because almost of the movies on this list are really dark. So if you're looking for something maybe a little bit more not dark, something that's definitely not dark, I would probably go for this one. Here is the best tier. So these were the movies that I liked. I liked the best, and that these movies were the best of the year. Starting the best tier, we have Turning Red. So I considered this to be the best animated movie of the year until one movie took that spot. Turning Red is adorable and extremely relatable to me as a 14-year-old girl. So this movie was just so sweet, and I loved the story so much. It was just so adorable. The voice acting was amazing. The red panda was so cute. I actually have a May, red panda May plush, I stuffed animal at home because I collect stuffed animals, especially Disney stuffed animals, at home, and I love my May stuffed animal. And the thing is, May is just such a relatable character. I have a whole video on Turning Red on my channel, and go watch that video because I kind of explain it. I kind of explain it in more detail, but the mother-daughter relationship is so good, is so amazing, and then the way it portrays female friendship is amazing as well. Because I think in most movies, I feel like the portrayal of female friendship is that like about female friendship is that they're always fighting, and this movie is just so sweet and so genuine. Go watch Turning Red. It's so sweet. Okay, so I watched this one on one of my movie marathons because So I have been holding off watching this one for so long until my aunt told me to watch it. So thank you for telling me to watch this. And this movie is amazing. So this movie is like at times like messed up, but then like this movie has so many tonal shifts, it's crazy. So like it changes tone every like 15 minutes, and it's so good. So the main thing I'd say, if you have never seen this movie, go in, don't watch any of the trailers. Don't watch any trailers, even though they don't really give away much. I still don't watch any of the trailers. Don't even look up what it's about. Just go to HBO Max if you have it and just press play. Just do that and watch it. It's incredible. It is incredible, and I just think it is honestly a movie that I think could have been so cliche, but it is far from it. It is so amazing. The way it handles like its its themes of like violence is just it's just amazing. I would say watch Barbarian, and I also thought like there were points where like you actually like it got so intense. Like I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Like it was so intense and terrifying. It's just amazing. So this movie is very much one that a lot of people really like. But I honestly think this is one that I think that I notice a lot more things about it than I think some people do. So I honestly consider Elvis to be a lot more sad than I think people seem to realize it is, because I think this movie especially shows how Elvis really was not in control of his own career, and it's kind of sad to watch. The movie definitely has that like very Baz Luhrmann style. I haven't seen any of his other movies, but it kind of has, from what I hear, like his style of very flashy shots, very flashy cinematography. That's kind of what this movie has, and it very much delivers on that. Austin Butler gives a really good performance as Elvis, and it is, yeah, the movie is definitely. I almost kind of consider this movie to be kind of a comfort movie. I don't know why. I kind of find myself watching this on bad days sometimes. I don't know if that's just me, but I think that it's just very like a lot of this movie I absolutely, yeah, I just loved watching this one in theaters. I actually, fun fact, watched this when I was actually in Nashville, and I like, what a more perfect movie to watch while you're in Tennessee. But by the way, when I was there, because I went to Regal, and their popcorn was amazing. By the way, it's like probably some of the best movie theater popcorn I've ever had. But yeah, Elvis. The movie was very sad, but it was amazing. Like Austin Butler, like give this man an Oscar. Give this man an Oscar for that performance. Like amazing. Now, this movie you have to see in theaters, like if there's ever a re-release at some point. Top Gun Maverick. Now, when I say you have to see this movie in theaters, I mean it. So, I also do have a funny story about this one too, but I'm gonna save that for the end of this section. So, the thing with this movie is that the story was really good, but the thing that really took, like, really fully immerses you in this movie is the flying sequences, the cinematography, like all that is really amazing to look at. The story itself is very very good. Like there's actually like a good story behind it. It's not just visuals, and I get what this movie made over maybe like $1 billion at the box office because it's amazing, and I don't know, I just the flying sequences, I was just in awe watching them, and and honestly, I kind of felt my seat kind of rumble, and it's so cool because it actually makes it feel like you're inside. the cockpit, and it's so cool. And okay, so what is the funny story about this movie? So basically, it was so I went to go see this movie with my friend, and so my friend and we sat down, and then there was this old man, and he was on a date, I could presume. He was on a date, and him and the woman sat down next to me and my friend. I don't even think those were their seats. They sat down and saw that me and my friend had candy. He was like, "Oh, do you mind sharing your candy with us?" And my friend is just like, "Okay." And like my friend was super confused. And he would not stop talking during the trailers, and he also was asking me like, "Oh, how the seats work?" And I was being nice. I was just like kind of explaining how the seats work, and then he asked me when like, but it's funny that I literally just talked about Elvis when the trailer came up, and he asked me. He was like, "Oh, when's the movie coming out? I didn't see it." And I was like, "Oh, it comes out on June 24th, sir." And he stopped talking when the movie was going on, but there were moments like where he just would not stop talking. And I was like, "Sir, can you please be quiet?" Like I was just trying to be as nice as I could. And then the guy just was very talkative, and I can just presume he was on a date and had not been to a theater in a long time, so that's why he was being super chatty. But like he wasn't. He was just chatty.
Are legendary.
And yeah, that's kind of what I have to say on Top Gun Maverick. Amazing movie. It is definitely worth the hype.
What he has.
We're All Going to the World's Fair is certainly not a movie for everyone, but I still happen to enjoy it. I watched this with my mom one night, and she hated it. Well, maybe that's because my mom doesn't tend to like a lot of these movies that I watch. So, but what did I like? We're All Going to the World's Fair. We're All Going to the World's Fair. I thought it was just a very simplistic movie, but though I will say that this movie is often not marketed right. I often think that the people behind this movie marketed this movie more so as a horror movie than it's more so a drama to me. It's more so a drama. So honestly, I think if you go in with the expectations that this movie is a drama, then I think you'll go in enjoying it a little bit more. Because I just think had it been marketed maybe as a drama, then it would have worked out a lot better for them. So Anna Cobb gives a really great performance as the lead character, and there's literally almost like it's a very small cast of people, and I can kind of see where some people would find this movie hitting close to home. Some people especially because this lead character Casey, she doesn't really have like many people around her. She mostly just has like her parent, like she's mostly on her own a lot of the time, so it kind of leads her to doing this internet challenge, which in a way like kind of I think is supposed to say something about like mental. I think this movie's supposed to be like a piece on mental illness and like social media challenges, and this movie is I don't think it's not really disturbing. It's just more so a drama about mental illness is what I like to say. And it's actually a pretty good one. I know some people I think are not gonna like this. Some people are really gonna like it, and I guess I'm interested to hear other people's opinions on We're All Going to the World's Fair. So leave your opinions on this movie in the comments down below. Bodies is definitely one of the more smart slashers I've seen this year. This movie takes the slasher movie premise and just turns it into a very clever social commentary on social media, and it's a really good commentary, and I really liked, and it was actually really funny. So the thing is, these characters especially drove the story very well. Like I really liked the characters, like, and some of them were like so dumb, and it was infuriating how dumb some of them were. It was so entertaining to kind of watch them kind of slowly betray each other and like kind of accuse each other without much evidence, kind of kind of accuse each other with not much evidence. It's a lot of fun, and then the twist at the end that it, like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but like it's so, like, if you've seen the movie, you know the twist was so good, and like such a smart idea, and I would have never thought to do that. I would have never thought to do what they did, and it is just amazing. Great direction, great performances, and like really good characters, even though they're dumb. It's Bodies is definitely one of the most entertaining movies of the year, and definitely if you are looking for a good newer slasher movie, then I would definitely recommend this one. Up next, we have the best animated movie of the year, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. So, I had heard so much about this movie, and then I finally decided to watch it, and this movie, it's so good. It's so good. So, I have been literally raving about this movie to literally everyone, and it's just so good. It's dark, and it's definitely really sad, but I would say watch it. So the thing is, I loved the impressive stop motion animation was just amazing, and this is one of the most unique takes on Pinocchio I've ever seen. And I don't honestly remember the original animated movie all that much. I haven't watched it in a long time, and I haven't seen Pinocchio: A True Story. I was actually going to make a whole Pinocchio video, but I scrapped that. So the thing is that this movie, it's just such a unique take. So I especially really liked that they set it during World War II, especially during fascist Italy, when Benito Mussolini was in power of Italy. And because it kind of shows you kind of the views of these characters, and kind of has a very unique way, because it's just a super unique idea that I never would have thought of myself. And because I actually know a lot about World War II, and because I just think it's interesting the way they express, the way they show the way the setting kind of influences the views and actions of the characters. And it's just, this movie is just so beautiful, and it is just one of the most heartbreaking movies I've seen this year. And I just think, if you're looking for a sad movie, or a darker version of Pinocchio, and you're looking for because you kind of don't like any of the newer versions of Pinocchio that have come out this year, which, by the way, I haven't seen them. So thing is, just watch this one. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. It's an hour and 48 minutes. It's not super long. It's just so heartbreaking and so beautiful. It almost brought me to tears. It's just so amazing. Just go watch it. Go watch it right now. Right when you're done with this video, go turn it on. Go turn on Netflix. Just press play. Just go watch this movie. I could sit here for an hour raving about this movie. It's just amazing. Go watch it right now, right after you're done with this video. Nope is one of those movies that I saw being talked about a lot on the internet, especially because no one understands this movie at all. I mean, same here. I don't really understand this movie at all. Actually, I kind of do. I have a lot of theories on it. But this is not the video to share those theories. This is the video to share how much I like this movie. I saw this movie on the day it came out, and I watched it on the biggest screen I possibly could watch it on. That's the perfect way to see this movie. And I loved Nope so much. At points it was it was terrifying and so nice to look at. It the acting, all of the visuals, basically every element of this movie was top tier. This is Jordan Peele at his finest, and I'm actually a pretty big Jordan Peele fan, I would say. I love Get Out, and I didn't like Us as much, but I still like that one. But my goodness, Nope. is fantastic. You should go watch this movie. It is amazing. Just saying that, yes, there is, don't expect, if you haven't seen this movie, then go in, like, if you think that everything's going to be answered at the end, don't expect that at all, because this movie, there's a bunch of unanswered questions, and I would love to see a sequel, because I think a sequel, like, would answer some of those questions, or, like, a TV series, you got what I mean? But, oh my gosh, Nope is just fantastic, and just Jordan Peele at his finest, and just watch this movie. I know most people are very divisive when it comes to Babylon, but I don't care. I love this movie, and I don't care what people think. So this movie, while it is not perfect, it's fantastic. It is, so I think it is a very wild movie, especially it's a very wild ride, especially because you have like 3 different stories going on at once. And my goodness, just fantastic. Like, I just think, like, the trailers kind of perfectly sum up how this movie is. It's very, very wild, and then it is very, very wild and is very rocky and messy. It is just Babylon. I get it, it's long, and I get, like, the whole montage at the end they could have cut out, but I didn't really have much of a problem with the runtime, and actually, fun fact, I actually went to go see this movie with my mom, and my mom hates 3-hour movies, so I'm surprised she ended up liking this one. So Babylon, I'm not really going to say much about it. It's just a wild, messy movie that I just think that I loved, and it's amazing. I had been holding off on watching The Black Phone until, so for context, I do volunteer work at a haunted hayride, and so someone I worked with actually told me to watch this movie, and so thank you to my coworker for finally getting me to watch this movie. And oh my goodness, this movie is The Black Phone is so stressful. Like, it is, like, it's one of those movies that I think, like, almost every character in this movie was useful to the plot, and the grabber is just so terrifying. Like, the grabber actually scared me, and like there's some points in this movie where like it's just downright terrifying. The Black Phone is just downright terrifying at points, and I really, and like the thing is, my mom and I were like yelling at this screen while watching this movie, because like we got really into it. Like, this one's like an easy one to get super invested in, and The Black Phone is just, it's just so fantastic. And I just think, if you're kind of burnt out on like newer like horror releases because of like franchise stuff, then go watch The Black Phone, because this one is like very, very unique, and I really liked the kind of kind of coming of age story they kind of weave into this horror story, like child kidnapping story, and it's just, yeah, just The Black Phone. It's fantastic, and yeah, thank you to my coworker who finally got me to watch this. Here we have yet another tie. So we have X and Pearl. So you're probably like, why didn't you rank them separately? Well, to me, X and Pearl are pretty much on the same level, and I really don't have a favorite out of both of them. I just see them as equal. So X is a unique one that I did not think I was going to like, and I now actually have a poster, like an X poster in my room, and so I didn't think I was gonna like X, but I ended up actually really liking X, and I really liked its commentary on aging, and also Mia Goth is just fantastic, and I really liked like the rest of the cast, and it's just, yeah, X is it's a pretty good one. Then when you get to Pearl, Pearl is to me more of like a character study on Pearl. It is more of like a character study of kind of why she is the way she is, and kind of what led her down this path. And I enjoyed that, but I enjoy them both equally. I don't really have a favorite over the other. Both of them they're both really good, and I would say, if you're confused on the order, just watch X before you watch Pearl. Don't do it opposite because you're not gonna get it. And I would highly recommend you watching both of these movies because I'm really excited for Maxine, and I'm just really excited for what comes from this franchise because A24 hasn't really done a franchise, and this is kind of their dipping their feet in the water, dipping their feet in the water with trying a franchise. When both movies are really good, I think I have high hopes for the rest of this franchise of X. Yeah, I'm really excited for the X franchise. I don't know if this one's controversial, put really high, but it's Avatar: The Way of Water. So I actually did watch the first Avatar movie specifically to watch this one, and I loved the first Avatar. And then I decided to watch The Way of Water. Quickest 3 hours of a movie I've ever seen. Mostly because this movie goes by so quick. The visuals are just stunning. I got really into the story. I know some people didn't really like the story all that much, but I didn't care. I liked the story. I really liked the story. And it was just, the movie's just a very, very beautiful to look at, and it actually had some emotional weight to it, and it was definitely very fun to watch. But I have a kind of funny story that involves my dad. So my dad and I went to go see this movie because we both watched the first Avatar. So his phone started going off, I think he had a notification or something, and then because he was listening to a sports radio, the sports radio started to go off, and I'm just like, Dad, turn your phone off. It was kind of funny. Anyways, I really loved Avatar: The Way of Water, and let's move on to the top 3. Okay, so my third favorite movie of the year is The Menu. So The Menu, I'm not going to say too much about it because I have a podcast episode coming up where I deep dive into the movie. I'm writing the script for the episode, so it's gonna take me so I know it's not gonna come. It's coming soon, but I just haven't filmed it yet. So The Menu is very smart, very clever. It was actually kind of scary at points, but it was so funny. The thing is, the people behind it that were sitting behind me and my parents were laughing hysterically at this movie. And I was laughing too, but not as much as these people were. And these people were just very entertained. But then this is actually funny. This is actually really funny. So basically, this guy was sitting in the same row as me and my parents. I didn't pay attention. I was really invested and focused on the movie, so I didn't hear this. So according to my dad, there was a guy sitting in the same row as us, and the guy's phone started buzzing. The guy's phone went off during the movie, and then that's kind of funny because I don't know. I just kind of find it funny when people's phones just randomly go off during the movie. I don't know. I always find that so funny. So, anyways, the next movie is one that actually was actually my favorite until number 1 came around. The Northman was a movie that I instantly fell in love with after watching it. So this movie was I am not one to watch Viking movies. I'm really not one to watch them. But this movie was just so, first of all, it was visually stunning. Acting performances were amazing. The action sequences were fantastic. Just, this movie is, near perfect, except... So the thing is, this movie, I loved it so much. I still love it so much. And the thing is that this movie was initially my favorite movie of the year until my number 1 spot came around, and I very much, and I was like, The Northman has been dethroned as my favorite movie of the year, and so I think the anticipation is kicking up. So what is my favorite movie of the year? Well, my favorite movie of the year is Bones and All. So Bones and All, I actually have an episode. My first episode of my podcast, The Final Girl, is on this movie. This movie just took my breath away. I feel like this kind of stuff is very much up my alley, like the fusion of genres is kind of what I'm really into. I love like the romance, the horror. It's so. This movie is disgusting. It is so gross. So actually, kind of interesting thing about it is that I went and saw this movie with my mom. So I've been planning on seeing it, and my aunt had seen it, and basically she was like, "Oh, Allison, this movie's really gory," and I was like, "I can handle gore. I watch gory stuff all the time," and she was just like, "Oh, okay." And then I warned my mom, and I was like, "Okay, Mom, this movie's really gory. Are you sure you want to watch this with me?" And then she's like, "No, it'll be fine." It was not fine. So we walk into the theater, and if you've seen the movie, you know the beginning. Right after that whole thing happened, my mom was just covering her eyes, and there was not many people in the theater I was in, but they were pretty grossed out too. So basically, as the movie went on, it gets gorier and gorier. People were leaving the theater. People fled the theater. I counted at least 3 people that left the showing I was in because they were so grossed out. But the thing is, this movie is at times a total horror movie, and other times it's like a romantic drama. And that's what I really like. It has a very good balance of the genres it blends together. It is very good understanding of it, and it blends them together so seamlessly that it's just beautiful, and it's just, I loved the characters, especially I loved the couple, Marion and Lee. They were just I really liked them. I really liked them as characters, because you kind of really find yourself rooting for them as the movie goes on. And this movie is disgusting but beautiful, and truly, I think that when I ever talk about this movie, I feel like you have to recommend this movie to the right people. You have to make sure you keep your audience in mind when you're talking about this movie, because this movie is just amazing, and it's just a real, definitely a movie that kind of, I feel like, went under the radar, maybe kind of went under the radar a little bit to some people. And I know this is not really anybody's favorite movie of the year, but it is mine. So what did you guys think of my rankings of these movies? And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys!